Hi everyone, thank you, good morning, and thank you for letting me come to your PLC this morning. I know your time is valuable and I know your time is limited, so I hope to give you some information as well as some resources that you can use concerning Lexile. I chose to talk about Lexile because as a school we're moving away, I guess, from AR and moving with more of a focus on Lexile, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe on the second grade report card there's even going to be a place on the report card for an SRI or a Lexile score to let parents know that aspect of it. I thought I would also give you some information about Lexile because we're changing the way the library has been dealing with Lexile, and hopefully this will help you better navigate the waters of the Lexile world inside and outside of the media center. Unfortunately, less than half of our library is currently Lexile, and Beverly and I are trying as hard as we can and as quickly as we can to Lexile the books in the library. I believe most of the fiction section has been done, some of the everybody section, and I'm not sure, I don't think much of the nonfiction section has been done at all, so we're working on that. Most of you are familiar with Lexile. You know it's a number that's assigned to a text, and it's based on the sentence length as well as the word frequency. And you know that a Lexile measure measures a student's reading ability, and you know that they go and take an SRI test and they get a score. The overall range for Lexile is from 200 to 1600, and if you are below 200 or if you are a 0, you're considered a beginning reader. When you do take, or when they take a Lexile test, make sure that when you give them their range, you go 100 below and 50 above. That gives them some give in what they're able to read. I've done a little bit of research on Lexile, and I did not know that Lexiles were part of the research used to develop the new Common Core for ELA. They've done studies that have shown that college textbooks and college readings, and as well as workplace readings like instructional manuals and things like that, have gotten more difficult since the 1960s. However, when we test text complicity, that has declined. What we are requiring students to read, that has declined, as well as the time that students are given to read independently. That has declined as well. So Metametrics, who is the company that developed the Lexiles, they have revamped the Lexile ranges to align with the Common Core, and it doesn't affect us at the primary level that much. We'll just pass it down, but I have a chart that will show you the old ranges or the old expectations with the new ones.
Wow. So it's no longer 300, 600.
Right. For second and third grade, it used to be 450 to 725, and now they've bumped that up to 790.
That's not what
No.
it showed on the last year.
What they had told us was second grade was 300 to 600, and third grade was 500 to 800.
On the reports that it generated and everything for us to send on to the parents.
Right. Well, that might have, I don't know if they've changed it on their website, because it isn't that, I mean, you can see that's a pretty big difference, and that is grades 2 and 3.
Oh, okay.
So that is, that's how they've aligned it now. But like you all know, your children are different, and we're looking for growth, and that's what we really want to see. The jumps, I think, are more prevalent in the upper grades. Even in fourth and fifth grade, and then on up, they seem to be a larger range.
questions?
Yeah, well, I wondered if you were having the same experience, because I've been very, very meticulous about taking home a bucket full of books every
I know,
night in my
I've seen
library.
you.
And I'm finding that books that I had previously considered simple books for children to read are coming up with anywhere from 500 to 700 Lexile level range because of that sentence need. And like for instance, Corduroy, I was telling Chantel, Ms. Ricks the other day, the book Corduroy that you would think would be, just really, it was a 710.
A lot of the, if you look at a lot of the Clifford books are in the 400 or 500s.
I've just been
Berenstain
appalled.
Bears, the Arthur books, and I've even told the children when we took our initial tour of the library, because I think a lot of them think that everybody section means it's easy and it's just for kindergarten, first grade. And I've pointed out that there are books in there in the everybody section with Lexiles of 500-600
So
that they can.
I'm sorry to interrupt this. It's
No.
turned into, almost my whole library is a non-readable library for
Right.
6 of my kids because of that 100 of, so I just wondered if you'd been experiencing that same.
Yes, because we have not a lot of students, but we do have a lot of students who are coming in initially as BR zeros or BR 30, 50. And Beverly and I have pulled maybe about 100 books, and we've put them in 2 shelves to themselves.
Good.
And we didn't label it, but we did put a green dot on the top of the spine just to make it easier for us to shelve. And when we see a student with a low Lexile, because they immediately want to go search on the card catalog and do everything they see their classmates doing, but we just check their card and just discreetly guide them to that section. It's close to the everybody section, but it is across the aisle, so to speak. And we just tell them, these books are here, they're in your Lexile. And some of you have, say, I want them to check out one fun book and one book in their Lexile. So we direct them to that section because it is hard for us to find
What I'm
books.
hoping is that a lot of those kids that went in and clicked at the first of the year are going to now, really try a lot harder so they can get up to that, to a level where they can read a few of those Junie B. Jones,
Right.
Chapter books, because that seems to be the whole thing in second grade, chapter books.
Yes, and I've said that to them as well. When you take your next SRI test, take your time. Just don't click through it, and because they do, they want to read those books that they see their classmates.
Well, Diary of Wimpy Kids, they were all reading that first of the year. Those were 900 to 1,000 Lexile.
Lexile.
So I just put them out of sight.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question also,
Sure.
since we're talking about different levels? At one time, the school was very concerned about reading on a different grade level. Taking books from 3rd grade or whatever, 1st grade, taking 2nd grades. Some of us do have some high flyers and are reading quite well. Platt Stanley is coming up as a 2nd grade reading level. It used to be a 3rd grade reading level. What happens when these kids read just about everything that's in that library, then they go to 3rd grade and there's nothing there? Not that I'm saying you won't get it, but all of a sudden you cross that other board.
Yeah, and that is difficult because with the increase in the Lexile comes an increase in the maturity level of the text that you're reading.
It's not even appropriate for
And
some of
it's
these
not
babies.
always age appropriate for them to read. We could always try to steer them more towards nonfiction, but you're right, that is difficult. That's going to be a fine line to cross because some parents might feel comfortable with their children reading something of more maturity level, and some parents might not.
I have a mother who has a freshman in high school right now who's now reading Great Expectations. And to me, that's just really a mature book for somebody that's just come into high school. So they really have ramped it. Like
Yeah,
you said,
they have.
ramped the
They
level.
have. Any other questions? Y'all know what a Lexile measurement does. It helps you manage student comprehension of text. Once they have that SRI level or that Lexile level, you should expect a 75% comprehension rate for assessment. it's difficult enough to challenge them, but it's not too difficult that they get frustrated when they're reading it. Once you see that it's too easy, a text is too easy, I wouldn't bother with giving them another SRI test. I would just bump up their Lexile. If you do have a classroom book that is not in our database, in our card catalog, you know you can check Lexile.com to find the Lexile. There's also a free Lexile calculator that you can use. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that, to gauge your reading comprehension. It is free. You have to register. It's on Lexile.com, and it's called a Lexile Analyzer.
Oh, yes.
And I'll walk you through that process just a little bit in just a minute. There's also on Lexile.com the Find a Book option, which I think we used yesterday in the book fair preview. Some of us did, I think. Somebody was asking, it might have been 3rd grade. And I'll show you how to use that. You can also, and I'll be happy to teach your students how to use Lexile.com, because they're able to generate their own reading list on Lexile.com. Or this might be something you want to share with their parents, or I can generate something that you can share with parents. Because once they generate a list of books, they have 2 options on how to find the book. They can either immediately purchase it from Barnes & Noble, because they have a they have an agreement. I know they have an agreement with Barnes & Noble. In fact, you can even go on Barnes & Noble's website and locate Lexiles. So that's another option. Or the Lexile.com is also connected to the WorldCat library, which is the online catalog that Craven, Pamlico, and Carteret uses.
What's it called?
If you go to Lexile.com and you generate a reading list, it's connected to, it's called WorldCat. And one word, WORLD, capital CAT. And it's the worldwide online catalog that's used. And Craven, Pamlico, Carteret Public Library System uses that catalog. So you can also see if books are available in the public library system. So that's an option.
Can I ask you one other question while you're talking about this? You know, you're saying checking comprehension. You know, we put the books in all these different, you have 20 children, and then 20 children are reading 20 different books. How are you measuring their comprehension? Just because you're saying, all right, go read that, there is no way we can read 20 books ourselves and make sure that they are understanding what they're reading. Because some kids can read anything you put in front of them, from a simple book to a dictionary, yet they don't understand a lick of sense. So how do you manage that throughout your year between those SRI tests? Because you can only give an SRI so many times.
Right.
So other than, you know, because I have some kids in some different books that I haven't been reading, because, you know, how do you measure that success? I mean, I'm having them doing some writing journal responses, but they could be giving me a bunch of gold too.
Right, right.
You know?
I guess with your small group, if you're using literature in small groups that's been Lexiled, any sort of either discussion or test or writing responses, anything like that would be how would be the best way to judge their comprehension. But just a book that they come in and check out from the library, you can't effectively, unless
Earn your competencies.
you're not going to read all the books that they're reading. So, but if you're using level text or everyday literature, I guess, you know, that has been Lexiled, you can put them in groups that way, based on those ranges.
I have been doing that Lexile Analyzer a lot, so if you need me to help train some people, or I'd be happy to train all you guys, be happy to do it. It's kind of fun, very, you know, sort of relaxing at night. It's this stuff.
That's good. Thank you, though.
I'll be happy to.
Thank you. I'm going to show, and y'all probably already know how to do this. I've taught showed your students how to do this, how to look up books on Destiny to find books in their Lexile. And I took all the 2nd and 3rd graders through this earlier, and I'm going to try to work backwards if I can. But I started all the students from the home page because I tried to stress to them that they could do this from home, that they can click on the library catalog from home and they can do it from home, because you can also print out lists. And I told them they are not to print out a reading list here because it could get massive. But, and they should all know how to do this. They type in their keyword, or if they want to know about a series or anything, they type in whatever. They go down, and I have said it until I'm blue in the face, you go to the little girl in the book. You go to the little girl in the book, and you click right beside her, and you click on Lexile. And then you get another drop-down box, and you type in a range. And most of you, when you made library cards for them, you put their range on there, so they just type that right in. And so if they want to read about dogs in their Lexile, they can type in, and they get 83 choices. So they can find books in their Lexile that way.
So they type in minus 100.
And that's the problem. Your BR students also struggle with the
and they want
navigating
to use it so bad.
and the typing, and so they do struggle with that. And I've also taught them how to show, we have pieces of paper and pencils by the computers, and they know to write the title of the book, the call number, or I call it the address, or the call number, and the author's last name. And it's amazing how a lot of them can go into the stacks and find the books themselves. That's very cool. I mean, they say, can you help me find this book? And I say, you start, and I'll come, you know. And many of them can find it. It's the coolest thing. They come up and they say, oh, I found it. So, I mean, it is good that they can do this. I taught them the 1 of 0 means it's not available, or the 0 of 1. Any questions about this?
What about poetry and the NPs?
They're not Lexile. Poetry
Poetry isn't
books
Lexile.
aren't
I know, it's
Lexile.
NP,
Yeah, and
but-
it shows up as an NP.
Are they allowed to check out poetry? Because a lot of they really.
It's
were
up to
supposed-
y'all. I mean,
They're supposed to, if you have, especially if you have
I just
simple.
require them to get one book on their Lexile and one book for enjoyment.
When you
That's
do
it.
it. Unbidden fiction and nonfiction. No, that's great.
quickly, because I know y'all have to leave. I did want to show you, and I think most of you are familiar with Lexile.com, with the Find a Book. And you know, just click up here, and you can type in a book and get the Lexile for it. And that's what Beverly's using this and our card catalog right now to do that. You can also, over here, this is I might have logged myself out. But
Yeah, you have to log in and
I
create
have
an
an
account.
account. Oh, here I am. I just made up a Lexile. You can set up your own account as well and give yourself a Lexile, and then you can find books that way, and that will get you to the Barnes & Noble links and the WorldCat links. You can search for books that way. And then the Lexile Analyzer, it walks you through the steps. You do have to convert it to a PDF, which is easy. You
It's
know,
fine.
or you can scan in text.
Well, what I've been doing is typing a Microsoft Word document, and then you go to, when you go to Save As, you can save
Yeah,
as
you just save it as a
something other-
PDF.
It says plain text, is what
Okay.
it told me to do. And then it'll do it.
And then it just searches it for you. I do, real quickly, because I know y'all have to leave, and I do have a gift, a parting gift for you. We are changing how we are identifying Lexiles in the library. Some of your students, if you have glanced at their books, on the spine, they might have a color code, a colored sticky. And we're eventually going to color code all of the books in the
Mine are.
library with this range. So the BRs will be white stickers,
Mhm.
and it goes down all the way to 1400s. And we're gonna post these in the library, and I also have one for you, for your classroom.
Thank you.
And the way I'll just let y'all choose, take one and pass it
Okay.
down. The way I did it when I was in the classroom, I just told my students to look for a pink sticker, or look for the orange sticker, or look for the blue sticker. And that, it's a, or I say you might be able to read one in the blue and the pink, and just to try to get them, it helps at a glance to look for colors, rather than to open the
So it
book.
might be helpful on their library cards to maybe put their color.
You can, yes. Mm-hmm.
Get a lot easier.
Can you give us those back so we can do that? Do you have our library?
Yes, yes. Or next time you come in, just take them. Yes, that's fine. That's fine. And again, this is a work in progress. We hope to.
Ms. Riggs, would you like to have some polka dots?
No.
Okay.
Do y'all have any other questions or anything?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
Thanks.
know it's